Welcome to your A to Z guide to the 2021 Bahrain Grand Prix, the very first race in this year's F1 World Championship. In this video, I'll take you through every little and large detail that you need to know before this race weekend in Bahrain. If you like this type of content, be sure to give this video a like and comment your predictions for this weekend's race down below. Now let's not waste any more time and start looking at the track facts of the Bahrain International Circuit. First hosting a race in 2004, the Bahrain Grand Prix has given us some great racing in the past, and we hope that will continue this weekend. The 57-lap race will be contested around the 5.4-kilometer Bahrain circuit with 15 corners overall, 9 to the right and 6 to the left. Bahrain is synonymous with its power-sensitive straights, so the downforce level here is rated as low to medium, as you still need good grip through Sector 2. Top speed is critical around here, as you take the lap at full throttle 72% of the time. Pole position is important around here, and I'm curious to know who you think will be on pole, so let us know down below. The number 1 grid slot is positioned on the left-hand side of the grid, which is the natural racing line, and has historically been a good place to start, which we'll get to in a moment. Finally, the average pit lane time lost during racing conditions is around 18.9 seconds, with the pit lane speed limit set at 80 km an hour. This year's race will be the 16th Bahrain Grand Prix to take place in Sakhir. Ferrari is the most successful constructor in Bahrain, taking 37% of the victories with 6 altogether. Mercedes are close behind with 31% and 5 total victories, while Red Bull and Renault have managed to grab 2 wins in the desert themselves. Sebastian Vettel and Lewis Hamilton share the honors as most successful drivers around the Bahrain International Circuit, with 4 wins each, while returning Fernando Alonso is third most on the current grid, taking 3 wins himself with Renault and Ferrari. No other driver on the current Formula 1 grid has won the Bahrain Grand Prix. Although a track with large runoff areas, Bahrain has seen its fair share of big accidents that necessitates the safety car. Historically, there is a 37% chance of a safety car during the Bahrain Grand Prix, with at least 1 appearance in the last 4 races here. As mentioned earlier, qualifying here on pole is important, as 44% of race victories have been taken from pole position. Alternatively, starting from outside the top 3 is not going to help your chances, as only 1 driver has managed to win from outside the top 3, and that was Jenson Button back in 2009, who won from 4th. 12 out of the 16 victories in Bahrain have come from either 1st or 2nd on the grid, so qualifying on Saturday will be a must-watch event. It is important to remember the changes to free practice for 2021, as all 3 practice sessions will now only be 1 hour in length. Here you can see the start times for qualifying and the race in some different areas around the world. The race will begin at the top of the hour at 6 p.m. Bahrain time, while viewers in the Eastern time zone, for example, will enjoy 11 a.m. race start time. Be sure to check your local listings for more info on when the sessions will be broadcasted in your area. And if you fancy watching qualifying with us, we'll be live streaming from 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time this Saturday, March the 27th, for a qualifying pre-show and watch-along with commentary, live timing, and instant reaction from social media, so be sure to check it out right here on the Backmarkers F1 Show channel. Starting off for the weekend notes, let's take a look at the tentative forecast for the race weekend in Bahrain. As typical of the Bahrain climate, we're expecting a hot and dry weekend in the desert. Friday is projected to be the hottest day with a high of 34 degrees Celsius, but those conditions will cool as we move into the evening sessions, which are more representative of qualifying and the race. I will highlight that they are calling for high winds on race day out of the north, with gusts of up to 41 kilometers an hour, which could make car handling tricky in corners such as turn 4 and turn 15, for example. High winds could also lead to plenty of sand being blown onto the track, as we saw during testing, which makes conditions quite tricky to drive in. Let's now look at the tire allocation for this weekend's Bahrain Grand Prix. Pirelli will bring the C2, C3, and C4 compounds in the first race of the season. As we did in 2020, all drivers will have the same allocation at the start of the race weekend, which is 2 sets of hards, 3 mediums, and 2 sets of the soft. Bahrain has a lot of big braking zones, so we usually see a lot of rear tire wear due to the repeated acceleration out of slow-speed corners. The track surface is very abrasive, but does provide a high level of grip. It will be interesting to see if any of the teams opt to qualify on the medium tire, as was the popular choice in the race here last season. Here are the rest of your weekend notes for the 2021 Bahrain Grand Prix. It's always difficult to predict the outcomes of the first race of the season, and this one is no different. In a few days' time, we will see whether Mercedes were hiding their true pace and if they've gotten on top of the rear instability plaguing their W12 during testing. We're also going to see whether Red Bull can build off their strong start to the preseason and actually close the gap to Mercedes first in qualifying and then ultimately in the race itself. I still see Mercedes as the favorites heading into Bahrain, as this has been a happy hunting ground for them, but I expect both Red Bulls to put on a serious challenge to the Silver Arrows. Further down the grid, McLaren will be close behind the top 2 teams, and I think they'll have a chance to capitalize on any miscues at the front if they were to happen. They seem to be the forefront at the midfield at the moment, and their 2021 package seems well suited to the characteristics of this Bahrain circuit. My personal question marks for this weekend are what kind of pace are we going to see from Aston Martin and Ferrari? Aston Martin completed the second fewest laps during testing, and we didn't see very much performance runs, especially from their new driver, Sebastian Vettel. And for Ferrari, this track is a good test for their upgraded power unit and how it holds up against the likes of Honda and Mercedes. They had a decent winter testing, but both drivers still don't look completely happy with the SF21, so let's see where Ferrari falls in the pecking order. That'll do it for your A to Z guide to the 2021 Bahrain Grand Prix, and I hope you found some useful information in this video. We hope you guys can join us this Saturday, March 27th, as we'll be live at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time for a qualifying watch-along livestream right here on our YouTube channel. In the meantime, if you enjoyed this video, give it a like, comment your weekend predictions, and subscribe to us on YouTube and also our alternative platforms like Odyssey. If you would like to support the Backmarkers F1 show, consider giving us a donation with the links found in the description below. Thanks for watching, and I hope you all enjoy the first race of the season.